Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, may you all be well, happy, peaceful, and healthy. Now, this particular presentation is dedicated to the students of Buddhist Sunday School, Dharma classes, all students in the secondary, tertiary education, all the youth members, teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dharma classes, and parents, grandparents who are also teaching the young people moral education or Dharma lessons. Now, so we are going to have a presentation of a story titled Tale of a Scholar and a Boatman. This is a story with very important life lessons that you can learn. Now, the texts are in English and Chinese. The Chinese start using Google Translate, so it might not be 100% accurate, but it will help those who are not so proficient in English. Now, the audio narration with explanation is in English. And I will go over the various slides to tell you the story. And then at the end, we are going to do the most important thing, and that is to reflect on the life lessons that we can learn or the Dharma teachings that are important. So this is what we are going to do in this presentation. Now, let us start with the PowerPoint. So we can share the slideshow from the beginning. You can see the cover slide of the tale of a scholar and a boatman. And that is the cover slide of the presentation. Now, before I go further, I think I should take off my video so that you can concentrate on the story and the pictures. Now, tale of a scholar and a boatman. Now, what is the meaning of a scholar? Now, a scholar is a person very learned, very knowledgeable, maybe very good academic qualifications. So he has a lot of book knowledge. And for example, it could be a professor, it could be a lecturer, or even a teacher, right? So that is the scholar lah. And the other main character is the boatman, a boatmanner. And this is based on a setting in India. And it is a fictitious story, but it has very good life lessons. So you can see the picture of the boatman and the very learned scholar, right? And the village, the river. So you can see from this picture. Now let us go on to the start of the story. Once upon a time, a very proud scholar from the city came to a village. So this scholar, it could be a lecturer, was from the city, right? So he came to a particular village. Probably he might have originated from the village. So he wanted to cross the river. There was a river running through. He wanted to cross the river to meet his brother on the other side of the river. As you can see, even in Malaysia, you have many rivers, and there are ferries, or sometimes boats. Of course, now we have motorized boats, but very, not so big rivers, but have these boats, sampan, with the boatman rowing manually. Anyway, it's just a story. So he saw a boatman at the river quite near the bank, and he called out to him, "Can you take me across the river?" He asked the boatman. Now remember that this scholar was a very proud person. And on the other hand, the boatman was a very simple guy, right? And you can see the picture there, the scholar dressed in, very formal clothes, right? Of course, here there is a picture that shows him dressing in a lounge suit, and then with the tie also. Whereas the simple boatman, he was very poor, and he was just dressed very simply with a sarong and a singlet, a white singlet. So that is his setting. So he called upon the boatman to ask him to take this scholar, to take him across the river, because probably his brother stays there. So that's why I say he might have originated from the village. Now let us go on to slide number 3. So this simple boatman very kindly replied, "Yes, sir, hop into the boat." Now he was a very simple man, but full of kindness and very polite. And you could see here, the first picture, he just told the scholar, "Yes, sir, hop into the boat." So the scholar went into the boat. Then the boatman started rowing, and as he was rowing the boat with the oar, this is the oar, he was very happy, singing happily along. Right? So then finally, as they were approaching the middle of the river, the proud scholar decided to chat, to talk with the boatman. He was a very proud person. So that is the picture. Now they are at the middle of the river already. And let us see what he wanted to talk about to the simple boatman. You could see the boatman. Now let us go on to slide number 4. So the arrogant means proud, asked the boatman, "Did you read the newspaper today? Who won the football match between our country and our neighboring country?" So he just asked the boatman whether he read the newspaper early in the morning, and did he read the news about the result of a football match between that country and the neighboring country, the two teams basically. The boatman replied, "No, sir, I don't know how to read." It was very, very simple. Illiterate, because he was from that village. And there's a footnote that says the boatman came from a very poor family, and he had no opportunity to go to school. So those were such people, very poor, couldn't afford to go to the school. And then he probably had to earn a living since young to support the family, that sort of thing. So he was having to work. So he just told very honestly, this proud scholar. Now let us go on to slide number 5. Yes. "You don't know how to read?" the scholar said to the boatman, not to the bottom, said to the boatman in a sarcastic and despicable manner. Now, despicable means a person that despises, despising another person. So he thinking that he, a scholar from the city now, right, very educated, a lot of knowledge. So he sort of looked down upon, to despise this simple, honest, kind boatman. So that was his attitude. Today, you also will see such people, isn't it? In high positions, very proud of their power, like certain politicians or certain managers, executives. In the world, you have all sorts of people, isn't it? So they tend to have a very despicable attitude towards people who are more lowly, lower rank. You know, the scholar continued in a scolding tone, not knowing how to read. You have foolishly wasted a quarter of your life. He didn't ask further, why he could not read, his poverty, his background, nothing. He just scolded the boatman, not knowing how to read. You have foolishly wasted a quarter, 1/4 of your life. So if you were to live until 80 years old, he would have wasted 20 years not being able to read. Well, the boatman did not answer back. He just kept silent, right? He didn't get angry. He was a simple, honest, righteous man. So he just continued rowing the boat mindfully, just continue rowing. So he just kept quiet. He received the scolding, but he was very patient and did not answer back. Then let us look at slide number 6 now. So the scholar began to feel very hot. He was in India, right? So the weather, you have 3 seasons. You have the rainy season, the cold season, and then you have the very, very hot season. The temperature could reach until, you could see the temperature could reach until 40 degrees Celsius, in India, it was like that. So he asked the boatman, isn't it very hot? What do you think the temperature is? This poor illiterate man, how would he know what is the meaning of temperature? So he told the scholar, sorry, sir, I don't understand what is the meaning of temperature. He was very honest. It's true. He never went to school. So the term temperature would be alien to him. Wow. The scholar was quite irritated already. Bad tempered, and he looked down upon the poor, simple boatman. What? Didn't you ever go to school? You are really ignorant. The scholar was virtually scolding the poor boatman. Uh, Here, I just show the animated just to liven up the presentation of going to school. I say, oh, you never went to school. So he scolded. I think you have wasted half your life. Half your life, or 50% of your life you have wasted because you didn't study in school. You're scolding him, rather than being compassionate and kind and trying to help. It was the opposite. All right, so that was this scholar. So now let us go on to slide number 7. Now the scholar continued to lecture the boatman. Lecture would mean a scolding, right? Of course, probably he was a lecturer also, a scholar, very bookish, just theoretical knowledge, not really at the ground, understanding people, including the very poor ones, people who have a lot of hardship. And he was living in an ivory tower and all, that cut off from the other side of the world of poverty. Then, he gave this advice, or you can say he gave this teaching. You must go to school and learn these things. They are so important. You don't even know what is going around the world. Life is being wasted like this for you. You must be feeling very miserable in your life. Wow, he was judging another person. The boatman actually was quite happy, simple. As I told you just now, he was even singing while he was working, carefree, just an honest, simple boatman having an honest living. But this lecturer probably was unhappy despite his great academic knowledge, despite his, probably he was quite wealthy, right? Paying a visit back to the village probably during his childhood days. But now he was a different person already. So he gave the boatman a lecture, a scolding, that sort of thing. So, I just put this particular image to show you, he was expecting that all should go to school and learn all sorts of subjects, mathematics, geography, this and that. He was expecting that. But it did not happen for this poor man who could not even go to school. And if you go to third world countries like Africa, India, or even Myanmar, you will find many poor kids in the villages who didn't even have the opportunity to go to school. But now things are better because they have also started these simple schools in villages, kampong areas, and so on. But still, you have, especially in the underdeveloped countries, Malaysia, of course, very, very lucky, right? So that was this situation, right? Which is still prevailing today in various parts of the world. Of course, you don't compare with very developed countries like in Europe, right? Where practically every kid would have the opportunity to go to school and education was free, right? So this is completely different situation. So now let us go on to slide number 8. So the patient boatman received the lecture or the scolding, and again he remained silent. He didn't want to, justify himself, to explain, because the lecturer was very snobbish. He did not care. He did not want to know about his background also. One could sense that this lecturer was like that. So the wise course of action was just to remain silent. Right? When somebody scolds you, you want to try to argue back. So he is practicing good dharma in a way. So the proud scholar then said to the man, okay lah. Okay, so what do you do? When you go home after work, I suppose you watch some TV. Do you watch some great musical programs? Or do you follow some exciting sport events? Ah, so he sort of changed the topic and asked the boatman after his work, probably he worked until the afternoon or in the early evening before he go back to his home in the village, right? So he said, I suppose you watch some TV lah. So this setting is quite in the modern times, not the ancient days. So that's why you wouldn't have TV and so on. But in the village, you find it's different. There might be a few houses now, villages in Malaysia. I've been to some of the villages and they have TVs also, right? Or worst come to worst, some would have the black and white TV lah, which would prevail in other countries that are underdeveloped. So this will make the assumption that he probably will watch the TV because he is from the city, so he had been living around very affluent people, rich people. So he was quite snobbish, sort of looking down on this poor boatman. So then he started asking about whether he watched great musical program. I know that here, I just put the animation. In his mind, he was thinking of this sort of thing, watching programs on TV and so on. Of course, situation was completely different. So how did the boatman, or what did the boatman say in reply to his question? The question was, after work, what do you do? And his assumption was, as most city people who spend lots of time watching the TV. And now, of course, you have the computers, you have social media platforms. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, so many modern people all spend their time doing those things, spend a lot of time on the social media platforms and just to entertain themselves. Right? They actually have problems of the mind. After some time, they get bored, and then so many people get into depression also, even though it's so affluent and this. Whereas this boatman, simple life, was very happy. Right? Now let us go on to slide number 9. So the boatman, he did not lose his temper, right? So he was still very kind, polite, not offended, by this very arrogant scholar who sort of scolded him also, or make fun of him, right? Or insulted him. So he was not affected. Very good Dharma practice. Sir, I don't have a TV. I don't have the money to buy one. When I get home, I feel very tired from my boat rowing. I just play with my children happily, or I go to sleep peacefully. It was a very simple life, but he was happy. He was peaceful, right? So he said that he could not afford to buy a TV. In the kampong area, he was from a very poor family. Then he, you know, told the honest answer that he earned the money from his job of rowing the boats, right? Well, probably people would sometimes cross over to the other side of the village, so he could earn a living, because they would pay a small fare, right? So it was like that, his life. Right? If you go to certain places, I've seen also in Cambodia, you have these boatmen. But nowadays they have the motorized boats and things like that. So their job was to transport people from one side of the river to the other side. Some rivers are not that big, right? Some average and so on. So that was his work, very tough work, isn't it? But he was quite happy. He did not complain. Especially, when the weather is hot, it could be terrible. So he told the scholar, he said, when I get home, I feel quite tired after the day's work. So I will just spend some time, right, playing with my children happily, as I put in the animated here to show. He was happy playing with the children. Or I go to sleep peacefully lah. He could sleep very easily, right, after a day's hard work. Whereas the irony is today, you have so many successful people holding high positions, very knowledgeable, right? A lot of power, some politicians on, but then they suffer from insomnia, cannot sleep. This includes, of course, the entertainment world, right? One of the pop stars, the great actors and actresses, the singers, dancers. So many have problems of the mind. So many have problems sleeping also, isn't it? Isn't it ironical? You are so rich, you have everything, also very educated, but no peace of mind. No wonder now you find the report that people, young people with problems of the mind, more and more such people. So these are very good lessons for us to consider after we discuss the Dharma or life lessons. So the scholar was thinking to himself, uh, he thought to himself about what the man said. And then he said to the boatman in the condescending manner. Condescending means like you feel a person feeling very superior. Oh, he's in a high position, this simple player in a low position. Again, it implies that looking down, despicable, despising, right? So you know what he said? 3/4 of your life has been wasted. 3/4, imagine. So he say, you have wasted most of your life already. He was trying to say that he did not enjoy his life. He did not learn much, so he must be very miserable and wasting the life away. But he doesn't realize more important things in life. Who is the peaceful, happy one? And that is this very important life lesson. So, this is the slide number 9. So now let's continue the story. As the arrogant scholar and the simple boatman were chatting, they were just, well, actually mostly the scholar was talking, mostly giving lectures and very insulting words, whereas the poor boatman just answered where he could answer in simple manner, honest manner. So very suddenly, you find here, nothing is certain, things can change. The bright sun suddenly disappeared. When they started out on their trip, it was a sunny day, right? But things like this can happen, isn't it? Nothing remains the same. So suddenly, the bright sun was blocked or disappeared already. There were a lot of clouds. The black clouds filled the sky. A sign that it will be raining quite heavily. When you have groups of these dark clouds. And then, yeah, true enough, right? So came the thunder and lightning. I have put in the pictures so they get an idea. And then, of course, started raining heavily, like a thunderstorm, you could say. I think you have seen movies or you might have experienced also. Even in Malaysia also you have thunderstorms and then so terrible heavy rain causing havoc, floods even in the cities. The roads are affected, cars get spoiled, cars stall and so on. You know that. So a thunderstorm. And then these two people were in a very simple boat. Right? Simple boat. So the storm was so bad, the boat began to shake and rock because you would have the waves. The flow of water in the river was not smooth already, right? Because of the thunderstorm, so it was getting rough. That's why it would be very dangerous to swim during rainy days in the river or the sea because the waters are not calm and it can be very dangerous. So the boatman now, since the boat was rocking and shaking, he could not control the boat. Poor fella. And then, of course, you could see the picture, he was using one oar to try to what, he couldn't. So in that situation, the oar to row the boat on slip away from his hands. So now, no control completely over the boat already. Without the oar to row, it's a very important thing, isn't it? The oar to row. Wow, it was a dangerous situation for the boat and its occupants. Only two occupants, the boatman and the passenger. And the passenger was this very proud, arrogant scholar. I hope you follow the story. So I put in some. Was quite difficult to get the pictures. So I had to try to use my creative thinking and put in something that would be interesting, help to follow the story. Now here, is a picture of a thunderstorm with the rain and the thunder and the lightning. Thunderstorm. Now let us go on to slide number 11. Oh, slide number 11, the proud scholar was terrified. Oh, definitely lah. He was very, very scared already now. All the pride and all the ego and things all vanished already. He was just overwhelmed by fear. Fear about what? Fear about losing his life in this terrible storm, which was not expected, which was unusual. But we know in life, nobody can really predict what would happen. You can't really know what is going to happen, even in the next few hours. Or sometimes even in the next few minutes, you wouldn't know. Suddenly, you have a heart attack or things like that. Young people, of course, are unlikely to have the heart attack. But now also you have younger people getting the heart attacks. So the proud scholar was really terrified. His body was shaking all over. He was trembling in fear. So the boatman knew that this was a very dangerous situation. He could not control the boat, and the oar already slipped away already. The floated away already, the oar. So the boatman informed the scholar, "Sir, I'm sorry. The boat is going to sink. Do you know how to swim and save yourself?" Ah, so he knew already the boat would sink already. He was experienced. But of course, these boatmen, they're expert swimmers. So he could swim very well. So he asked the scholar whether he knew how to swim. And then this terrified scholar said, I don't know how to swim. I don't know how to swim. He muttered. Uh, his language, his words now different from this now, the scolding tone. Now he was muttering, could hardly speak clearly already. He was fearful. Just I put in the animation to say, I can't swim, I can't swim. That's something. This is another picture of the boat in the thunderstorm in the boat in the waters. Right. So you find this, so you will be interested to know what will happen, isn't it? Right. So then the boatman said, "This is so sad. You will then drown." Now, probably it was quite difficult for the boatman to try to save him because he had to save himself, isn't it? Right? The lecturer, you know how to save him, so he will to go and pull him. Two of them might sink together with the boat, So he also knew that it was quite difficult unless they have a rescue boat or a team of people coming. It was just a simple, and it was not a big size but a small size, right? So what to do? But anyway, it's just a story. So this is so sad. You will then drown. Your whole life will be wasted. But the boatman, of course, was quite good in swimming. His livelihood as a boatman, so he would be very familiar with swimming in rough waters and so on. So the boat was sinking already. Right? So he had to jump off, because if he did not jump off, the sinking boat might drag him. He must jump off from the boat to a certain distance and then to start to swim away. So the lecturer or the scholar, could be a lecturer, help, help, help. He was very, very afraid. So I put this cartoon image to show this fella struggling. Help, help, help. The current is too strong. This one just to show that he was on the verge of drowning already. So as the boat sank, it pulled down also the scholar, right? He couldn't do anything. So he was so scared, and then of course he sank together with the boat into the waters below the surface, and he drowned, right? He died. So you see, nobody is certain of his life when it could end, right? So the kind-hearted, good person of the simple boatman did not die. He could swim. So he swam, I just show a picture here. He could swim and then reach the shore. And he could make his way. He was okay. He made his, except he lost the boat, right? But the life is more important. So he could make his way back to his home, right? And he was very happy. So the wife and the children were very happy to see him safe and sound. So you see a happy ending for the boatman. Money lost can be gained again, isn't it? Can be obtained back. So, but most important, he did not die, isn't it? Life is the most precious thing. But the lecturer, right? So this is a simple story that tells you, you see, a good person, and then you have a second bad person, you could say, this sort of thing, right? So what is to happen? Nobody would know. So of all of us, we know that life is uncertain, and that is certain, but you don't know when it can happen and how it's going to happen. You cannot. So when we reflect on this sort of thing, we will learn very important life lessons. Right. So now we are going to go to very important slide. You could say the most important slide to learn the life lessons, or you could say also Dharma teachings. Right? Dharma actually is practically everything of our mind, the world, and everything. All right. So the laws of nature, physical, mental phenomena. So we are going to discuss this at greater length. So now we will go on to slide number 13. We have these life lessons to reflect on. Now that is actually the most important thing. The story is just a story. What is important is to reflect on the Dharma teachings, the life lessons, in conjunction with what we have heard about the story. So I have sort of, make up the Dharma teachings, bearing in mind the flow of the story. So, so let us look and see what Dharma lessons we can learn. Now, let us go on to the first one. Be humble, be kind, do not look down upon others. I think this is quite obvious from this story. You find this character of the scholar. He could be a professor, he could be a businessman. Unlikely businessmen and scholars are usually more academic, very knowledgeable. So you could see that this person was opposite. He was proud, he was arrogant, conceited, egoistic, and definitely he was not kind. He was more self-centered, very proud of himself, being maybe a lecturer or professor even. And he was looking down upon other people, the poorer people. So you would say that this is not a person of good character. So remember that to practice humility, loving kindness, metta, and even though you are in a very high position, so very successful millionaire or businessman or a professor, make sure we do not look down upon other people who are not so fortunate. No, they don't have the blessings that you have. So I think not long ago, I think I posted stories along this line, about millionaires, where, yeah, I think it was posted yesterday. No, yesterday. Today is now I'm doing this on the Tuesday lah. So yeah, I posted it yesterday, Friday, about in Hokkien, the story of Chin Kiam Siap. Yeah, very, very selfish. But then after that, he learned important life lessons. You could refer to that. If you don't understand Hokkien, actually, you have the English words in the PowerPoint and also the Chinese words translation. So you can actually follow the story, which teaches very important life lessons. The story was generated by AI, artificial intelligence. Then I did some editing and so on, and then did a presentation. So a very meaningful story. The story of Mr. Jiao Kim Jin Kiam Siap. Jin Kiam Siap is the Hokkien pan for Mr. Stingy, very stingy. A lot of money, right? And probably position of power and so on, but he was not happy until he learned certain important life lessons and his life transformed. So very well. So that was the story. And today now we have, the story is not the same here, right? So this is the first lesson that you have to consider very, very carefully. Right? Humility. Actually, when we think of the uncertainties of life, then who are we? Right? In the whole universe, we are worse than one small grain of sand. Our Earth is so very small compared to the whole universe. And you will compare yourself to this grain of sand. And I used to, walk along the beach with some of the students when I was teaching in Kelantan, and we would discuss these life lessons. So you see, we are nothing, right? Small grain of sand. You're smaller than that. So why so proud? Uh, Today, actually, people who are very proud, I've taught all sorts of students, and there were students also who were very, very proud because of their great intelligence and very successful academically, like always scoring all the A's. But I had to teach them important life lessons. Should not be proud. You must be humble. Imagine the great scientist Einstein, one of the greatest scientific minds that ever lived. He was a very humble person, even though he was the greatest scientist during his time, and today also regarded as one of the greatest scientists that ever lived. He was full of humility, you see. And the other point is be kind. And for Buddhists, a very important practice is to practice metta. Metta translates as loving kindness. To practice loving kindness. To always have loving kindness. And also one more point, very important, compassion. Karuna, compassion to have other people, for other people. Now, if you are familiar with the teachings of Dalai Lama or Dr. Venerable Matthew Ricard, very, very compassionate monks. I met some very compassionate monks, and you find, wow, you really respect such people. Not, wow, the great singer, but full of pride, arrogance. But today, it's a very different world. Young people do not know that the people whom they should admire and respect should be the people who have all these very good qualities. Instead, they look, wow, cái lek cái leng chai so rich so they look up to the great singers and the maybe actors or actresses. Even though their characters are not good examples for younger people. Smoking, drinking, taking drugs, committing sexual misconduct. And yet, the young people take them as their role model. Wow, I want to be like that. I want to be a K-pop singer. And then you find them messing out all the lives. It's not that all singers there are good singers and actors and actresses, I'm saying, but today it's very, very common. When you ask the people, the young people, who is the one you admire most? How many would say that is Mother Teresa or Dalai Lama or even Buddha or Jesus Christ? Most would say, wow, these K-pop singers are fantastic and so on. You find they have not learned important life lessons. Now let us go on to the next one. Mere knowledge but lacking in virtues will not bring happiness and peace. Yeah, it's true. It's not that we should not get knowledge. We do get, I mean, if we can, we should go to school and so on. But this one was an unfortunate situation, right? So, but today you find that many people have just academic mere knowledge, right? Very smart, uh, can even understand AI, computer knowledge, and all sorts of things. Very, very smart, but not a good person. They put their knowledge and their intelligence all into wrong ways. Like today, you hear of so many scams, con men, IMDb scandal, and so many cheating cases that our country are losing so much money, isn't it? And these people have the knowledge to scam people, right? To cheat people, and also terrorists, for example. These terrorists, they are not just poor, uneducated people. Then how would they carry out all their terrible tasks using computers and communication and so on? So some of them have degrees and so on. Knowledge, they have all this, but sad to say, they lack the virtues, they lack metta, compassion, all these things. And you think these people are happy? Getting a lot of money in the crooked ways, cheating and scams? They are not happy, you see. They think they are happy. Because with the money, with the power, they can get some temporary pleasures. But all this don't last. Anything can happen anytime, just as you could see in the case of the scholar. He was not very old yet when he died in the storm. And the poor, simple boatman, very happy and peaceful person, did not die. It was a story, but it's very important thing for us to reflect on. So, just theoretical knowledge is actually quite useless in the sense that you have not transformed in your character and also in your wrong thinking, in your wrong views. So in Dharma practice, you find Buddhism or Dharma practice, Dharma is just not being a professor of Buddhism of the Dharma, just mere knowledge. No, you have to apply the Dharma teachings, and then important thing is to transform your character for the better and to improve your mind so that the mind grows in compassion and wisdom. And of course, righteousness, morality are important. These are the things that will bring you true happiness and peace. Happiness and peace, not the momentary, temporary pleasures. Enjoy eating, enjoy traveling, right? I'm not to say that these are wrong, but it's not balanced by the wisdom, by the good heart of reaching out to other people. And the mind is not growing in wisdom. It's just the person is always just such a person always concentrates on just enjoying yourself. Some will have that philosophy. Anytime I can die, I'm already quite old, so better enjoy myself as much as possible when I still can. Now that is not wise thinking, not thinking or attitude of wisdom. Because all of us know that there will be life after death. All religions tell you that life does not end with just death on this earth. You will be reborn. In Hinduism and Buddhism, you are rebirth. Right? And in Christianity, Islam, and other religions, they also talk about a life after death, either in heaven or hell or things like that. So which means that, do we give a thought to it that, wow, that's why I was puzzled that many people say, enjoy yourself while you still can. As if that, that after that, nothing happens. No, that is a very dangerous type of thinking. Right? Because it's not balanced. It's not that you cannot enjoy yourself, but don't forget that the things that truly matter you have to do, like to develop the mind, right? To improve on the spirituality, to reach out and help other people as much as we can when we still can. Well, I find the thinking, I don't know, I find it very, very strange. Now, let us go on to the third one. A proud and rude man lacking in kindness is not respected. He is not liked by others. This is actually a natural law of cause and effect. A person that is arrogant, egoistic, and also very ill-mannered, rude, very cold-hearted, not warm-hearted and cold-hearted, which means that very unkind, very selfish, self-centered. Do you think he can be respected? But today, strangely, actually, it's not respected. But today you have fools that respect such people. But if you really think, you know that these people are not worthy of respect, isn't it? Because they are not only arrogant and rude, they lack kindness, and actually they break the moral laws also. So these people should not have respect, actually. But today the world is very funny. You have a group of people like, people who have been charged and put in jail, in court for very serious criminal actions, maybe of cheating, what do you call it, corruption, swindling a lot of money from the country and so on. And yet, there are so many that will respect and support him. That is very, to me, is very, very strange. Is it? It's not that I'm telling you to hate them, but we say that we won't take that person as a model. You should take great people, kind-hearted, and then very caring, all this as role models. So if you follow the general thing, those days, no, I mean, we have less of these funny things happening. Actually, a person that is proud, rude, ill-mannered, self-centered, selfish, cruel, immoral, will not be liked, will not be liked by others. But today I say that there is a group that are still alike. Very, very strange, I find. It actually boils down to education. They have been brainwashed into a type of education that just concentrates on money, materialism, rather than also paying attention to moral values, spiritual values, virtues, and so on. So it's lopsided lah. So you have a whole generation of people being educated just on one line, one direction, and that is to get as much money as you can, to be very successful in the career in terms of getting high positions. Not to say that this is wrong, but unfortunately, this seems to be the only thing. It's not balanced. But of course, I would say there are people who are very successful, very rich, and who do very good charity work, outreach work, right? But I would say not many. That will be a minority, isn't it? Like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. There are philanthropists among the richest people, but they give away, or even the Chinese actor Chow Yun-fat. Well, he would give away millions, and then he would not pass his wealth, fantastic wealth, because he was very great as an actor from Hong Kong. So very rare to find these people. So these are the ones that they really deserve respect, admiration, and role models. But it's not so today. So you see that such people is quite natural that they, I don't know, who would like a person that's ill-mannered, immoral, and very, very selfish and self-centered? But yet, today you have people looking up to these immoral people. And I feel that the reason is they have not received the proper education. One is, and the other thing is, they might have received a lot of benefits and money from these immoral people. So they become their machai lah. So that is terrible. So if you break the moral laws, there is a price to pay. You might escape this life, but as I told you, all religions teach that life does not end just with death here. There is an afterlife. All religions, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, all also talk about afterlife. This is quite universal. So when we reflect on this, then we say, oh, where am I heading? Where am I heading? So the wise person would try to live a life that is virtuous, righteous, right? But today, many you find have the ambition of living a life that is very, very successful in terms of material wealth, in terms of power, fame. So they feel that if they get this type of success, then they'll be happy. But it's not so, as you can see. Famous people, actors, actresses, singers commit suicide despite all their wealth, despite all their fame and their power. These cases all show already the truth that happiness and peace do not just lie on the external things of getting well. It's something within you, the spirituality, right? So you see, when you look at these two things, happiness and success. I remember Ajahn Brahm would ask, which comes first, success or happiness? Of course, it is happiness that comes first. If you are very successful, not happy, then what is the use? You are successful in terms of a lot of wealth and possessions, but you don't have the happiness, then can you call that real success? So it is happiness, true happiness of the mind comes first. Then you are really successful. And with that good state of mind, of this, you can earn also good money and then to use the money wisely and so on. So remember, happiness within the mind is the most important thing, right? Peace, a very important thing. So now let us go on to the next slide. A simple, patient, virtuous, and contented man can find joy and peace. Now, I want to look at these very important qualities. First is simplicity. If you think that the richest man with all their luxurious lifestyles are the most happy people, the rich men or the rich women, you'll be mistaken. You find cases where so many need psychiatric treatment and they cannot sleep, as I mentioned. So I've met some very simple people in India and Burma, and you can feel that there is this peace and happiness. Of course, I would not be so bad as in Africa where you can't even get food, and then you can't be really peaceful. You need the food, but these people have just the simple necessities of life, and yet they exude fantastic feelings of peace and happiness. I've experienced this. Then the other quality is kanti or patience. Very important. So this person was so patient. The boatman, with all the scolding also, he was so patient and virtuous to keep your precepts, to have morality. And the other very important, to be contented. Of course, you can earn and then you reach a certain state already. Then I have enough. So blessed compared to so many people. Then it's time that I do certain meaningful things, like maybe doing more social work or welfare work and so on, rather than endlessly chasing the money to enjoy yourself more and more and more non-stop. It's not that you can't. I'm just saying that people just concentrate on that thing only. How many will go and do outreach work and social work, you see? So these are people with this quality: simplicity, patience, virtue, contentment, and then you will find the true joy and peace developing in the mind. The happiest man on earth was found by one research from the University of Wisconsin, was this monk, Venerable Dr. Matthew Ricard. When they did all the experiments of the probe into the mind, study the brain structures and all those things, and then they conclude he was the happiest man on earth. He was having all these qualities. Just a simple monk with no possessions, no money. Monks cannot take money, right? Was patient, observe the morality, contentment, and then very kind-hearted. So remember this very important thing. So I hope you have learned. I've spent some time on this frame because it's the most important frame. Now let's go on to the last one. This is what I have put. Being simple, virtuous, caring, contented, and kind. I'm repeating what I said just now in the concluding slide of being simple, not, wanting this, wanting that in all the luxury, right? And then to be moral, I'm repeating this, and to be very, very caring. The caring part is the compassion part, the metta part. And just now I mentioned contentment already. And kindness is covered in the metta. Right? It's loving kindness that's best. Because I wanted the rhyme, so I put there. Being simple, virtuous, caring, contented, and kind is needed to be happy and peaceful in the mind. This actually was what I said just now. For this to sum up is so very important. And Buddhists, in fact, all also can use this. The best way is to learn the Dhamma. I say Dhamma rather than Buddhism because Dhamma is universal. To understand things as they truly are, to understand our mind, to understand the body, to understand what is the purpose and meaning of life, and all those things are covered in Dhamma, right? The laws, the universal laws, and so on. So from here, you can see that we have covered very important grounds of life lessons and Dhamma. The story is just a simple story. It's just a story, but it's the Dhamma lessons that are most important. So I've spoken coming to an hour already. So we need to conclude now. So before we say sadhu 3 times, so I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the students. These are more suitable perhaps for secondary students, but there are some in the primary, upper primary that can follow intelligent people who can understand. All students, secondary, tertiary, and also all the youth members. In fact, for everybody, this one, not necessarily for even adults also need this. So to all of people who have been following this presentation, I say thank you and sadhu to all of you because you have done a very meritorious deed of following a Dharma presentation. You have spent your time, you've taken time and put in the effort, right, to try to learn important Dharma. That is a very meritorious deed. So I say sadhu to all of you. So now let us put our palms together, pull our palms, and say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. To all of you who have been following this presentation, may you all be well, happy, peaceful, healthy, and may you always follow the Dhamma diligently. Take care.